All right, welcome back, free radicals and independents and Tulsi-crats and Bernie-crats and nobody-crats. I'm Dave, and this is the Radical Independent. I was going to say Save America, Vote Tulsi Gabbard, both of which are true. And, you know, folks, a lot of people are asking me, so now what? DNC repeating their 2016 stuff, and it was predicted. This has been telegraphed. It's not even if, when you're watching what's happening and you're wondering, are they going to do it again? Are they going to do it again? Looks like they're kind of doing it again, huh? Those polls look kind of a little skewed for Biden, huh? Gee, how come Tulsi Gabbard isn't showing up? The funny thing is, there are polls where Tulsi Gabbard is showing up. What happens is, they get down to like 5% or whatever, and they stop talking about the candidates. They'll get to like Buttigieg, and they'll go, okay, Mayor Pete's at 5%. Wow, well, Mayor Pete, look at him go. And then, Tulsi might be at 3 or 4 in a particular poll. I saw one last week where she was at 5, where Bernie was killing it, was crushing, but it's like there's no mention. So, again, now what? What are we supposed to do? The last video that I posted, I am asking the indie journalists out there, the Kim Iversons of the world, the Jordan Cheritons of the world, the Kyle Kalinskis, the real journalists, not people like me, but the people who do a lot of research. They have a professional-looking background, and they've invested money in their enterprise. All right, and they're getting subscribers by the thousands because of it. I'm asking those folks to think about staging an alternate indie media debate. And it could be the first of many to come. In fact, these candidates, some of them obviously have to drop out for financial reasons. But look at Tulsi Gabbard's campaign. Now, I don't like, was it Julian Castro? Is it Julian or Julio? I think it's Julian Castro. I'm not a fan of his, but if he's got the money, he should be allowed to continue. He's fundraising well, so that means people are giving him money, which means there's some grassroots stuff happening in his campaign. Same with any other candidate, Marianne Williamson, Andrew Yang. Yang is making a lot of polls, which is good, but in some polls I've seen him at 0. So, it depends on what poll the DNC is going to use, because apparently that is the new hurdle. It was bad enough you had to meet the donor amounts. Okay, I get it. You want to see if people are willing to give money to your campaign. See, and this is the money in politics thing. It's almost like we're encouraging people to give money because that's all that really matters in politics. If you can fundraise, then you're a great candidate. Well, that's one aspect of a good campaign. The other is if the message resonates. It's not as if they're asking people, they're doing a questionnaire where they're saying, of all of these different things, which of these resonate with you as a voter? And then they compile that list, or which candidate represents these issues the best. Like, take a poll. And it doesn't have to be people who give money. It doesn't even have to be people in the Democratic Party. Because in some states, you've got open primaries, and I think all states should have open primaries. Because this two-party duopoly, because of the way it's structured, is killing democracy. It's just killing the entire process. We're all supposed to just, like me, here in Florida, I'm just supposed to switch. Every time, say a Republican runs, it's not likely, but if a Republican runs, and I'm like, wow, this guy's different, he's got some progressive ideas, he's got a few conservative, I want to switch, I want to vote Republican. So I got to switch my party affiliation, blah, 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 and if I don't do it in time, I can't vote. Just crazy stuff. It's just dumb. And I think we've reached a point where we're in a lot of trouble. This is the definition of insanity, right? Isn't it? You keep doing the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result. When Joe Biden announced, he immediately went to the number one poll position, and he hasn't looked back, although now supposedly Elizabeth Warren is beating him, which means that the establishment might be okay with Elizabeth Warren, which also probably means, by the way, that she's really not that progressive, that they think she'll back off. She's not doing Medicare for all. She's not going to do, although she has introduced student loan forgiveness, but I don't think she'll get it through. I mean, I just don't think she's going to get up there and face off too well against Donald Trump, but they like her because she's a Russian hoaxer, she's a conspiracy theorist, and so forth. So she's doing well. She's really doing great. But the idea that candidates with real, true, progressive ideas, ones that would help, kind of like the little guy, and like I always say, the crumbs kind of fall off the table, and we get a few of those crumbs. Most of them go over to the regime change wars and the, endless occupations and the military hardware. The money that we're spending on military hardware, holy crap. But we all are sitting here just watching. It's like an accident in slow motion. So, again, if anybody... I had one person on Twitter actually say, hey, Dave has this idea. We need to do an indie media debate. If these candidates can't make it after all of the fundraising and then they're excluded because of fake polls or DNC approved polls rather than just polls, it's amazing. It's kind of like here on YouTube where when you violate their guidelines and they don't tell you how you violated their guidelines, you really have no recourse. I just love this about YouTube. It's like, okay, so you're demonetizing my video. Why? Be specific, okay? You've decided to permanently demonetize my video. Why? Could you be specific so I don't do this again, so I know how to avoid these traps, where I don't do the same thing over and over again? And, we are doing the same thing over and over again as far as this DNC expectation game. And by the way, we all know the game. We knew it in 2016 when they basically screwed Bernie. So why don't we should be activating some kind of third way network right now. And I mean, network is network of people with even different ideologies who don't want either Donald Trump or Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden or whoever it is. They want somebody who's truly going to help them. And I'm just, there's only so many ways you can say, see, we told you so. But many of us early on, and I'm just watching these pundits going through the motions saying, okay, well, Bernie's really doing well in the polls. Bernie is going to get screwed. If Tulsi's getting screwed now, you wait. Down the road a little further, Bernie might win a couple of early primaries. I can't see how Bernie Sanders doesn't win New Hampshire, and I can't see how Bernie Sanders doesn't win Iowa. South Carolina, that's a different animal. That's a tough go, and I think Biden probably wins there. But then after that, it's a state-by-state contest. Places like California, Texas even. So to wrap up this video, we need to mobilize all of you indie journalists out there, indie commentators. Even if you don't agree with one another, even if you don't like me or you don't like somebody else, just think about this. Think about an indie debate with Tulsi Gabbard and anybody else who gets excluded because of these ridiculous ideas that the DNC puts forth, basically moving the goalposts around. And you might want to include some Green Party candidates in there too, because it's going to be an independent type deal, not just for DNC, but for anybody who's got ideas that can actually move the country forward. So there you go. See you soon.